Everybody loves a good hunt. Another movie from last year that I have been meaning to get to, I finally have. Prey. This is really good. I would say this is easily the best Predator movie since the original. I'm not personally going to say it's better than the original. However, if anyone were to tell me that they liked this more than the original, I wouldn't be confused by that. I think which you prefer is going to come down to a question of taste or possibly even just nostalgia. But this is really, really good. So I do like the Predator franchise. There's a lot of hiccups in it. Like the original is a stone cold classic. It just is. Predator 2 is all right. It's got some okay moments. Predators, I know a lot of people liked, but honestly, I couldn't quite get it. Like, it was fine. It was totally fine. I didn't really get into it all that much. I'm actually a low-key defender of the first Alien versus Predator. Haven't seen the second one. Not interested in it. Haven't seen The Predator. Not interested in it. Oh, first of all, I'm surprised that it took this long for them to embrace the idea of the Predator hunting in a different time. Because honestly, this was the kind of stuff that was explored in the comics a lot to great effect. There were numerous Predator comics, sometimes like very limited runs, only a couple of issues, that would have the Predator set at a historical point in time. I've got some issues that I think where he's in World War One, they aren't the best, but like it's an interesting enough idea and it was used multiple times. So I'm surprised it took them this long because it's a really good way to wipe yourself clean of the continuity nonsense of like, well, can you get Arnold Schwarzenegger to come back for a cameo? Like they keep trying to do for movie after movie, and he keeps leaning towards it and then never doing it. Or like, do we keep it in continuity with this or that or with AVP? Or like, forget it. Set it in a different time period and don't worry about it. That is so simplifying. Also, I love that this is just stripped back down to the basics. There is one predator. No hunting dogs, no additional predators, no pred aliens or hybrids. There's one. There's just one. That's all there needs to be. Now, this is the kind of, I was going to say reset. It's not really, but this kind of a bring it back to basics kind of thing that really kind of only hits right if a franchise has kind of gone afield of what its basics were. Something has to have overcomplicated itself for stripping it down to basics to be a good strategy. But that has been the state of the Predator franchise for a little bit now. That made this a really good call. This has the same director as 10 Cloverfield Lane, aka the only good Cloverfield movie, and it shows. The cinematography in this is stunning. Some of it's the action scenes. There is in like this camp, there's this really fantastic one-shot action scene that it's nowhere near as show-offy as these things tend to be, but it's just good, solid stuff, and it's not too close in. It's not too shaky cam. There's these amazing, sweeping vistas. Like, I know this went straight to Hulu. What I wouldn't have given to see this on a big screen. It has the kind of sweeping majesty that I'm just used to movies not doing anymore. Honestly, from a visual palette, it reminded me of period epics from the 90s, like Last of the Mohicans or Dances with Wolves. And I'm talking strictly visually, and here I'm really only referencing like the landscape shots, but they were gorgeous. They were so good. And if they were assisted by CGI, I couldn't tell. So I haven't even talked about the plot of this. So set back in the 1700s, we have a predator landing and doing what predators do. And in this particular case, he is hunting on a land that is home to, I believe they are Comanche indigenous people. And we follow primarily the character of Naru, and also, some other members of the tribe. She has a dog. It's a very good dog, and it 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 lets things build. It actually lets things build across the board because we really get the sense from a very early stage this predator has not been on this kind of hunt, at least not on Earth before. So it's sort of figuring things out, how it wants to handle things. And there are additional complications because, there's other encroaching forces than just the predator that this tribe has to deal with. Plus, there's all the natural dangers like bears and things like that, and it's all given weight. It all feels all of it feels dangerous. And Naru does amazing, like so often, so many scenes. She has no lines and has to convey so much with just the face. And she nails it. She absolutely nails the determination, the fear. She's one of those actors who you can just watch her, and you can not only get the sense that she's actively thinking, you get the sense of, I can follow your thought process just watching your face. That is a really hard thing to do, and not a lot of actors can do it. Another one who can do that I've cited in the past is Robert Downey Jr. It's part of why he does Tony Stark so well, is because you can see the wheels turning. You can see the thought process in his eyes. She can do the same thing, and it's really great to see. The action is, again, as I said, really good. I'm not going to say the movie's not scary. It's more tense than scary. It's big on tension. That I feel I can say comfortably. It is, I think, ultimately more of an action movie than it is a horror movie. That's not to say that there are no horror elements. There are between the gore level in some scenes and just the way some things play out. Yeah, no, it can get kind of horrific at times, but I'd say it's closer to an action movie than a horror movie. I'd call it an action movie with horror elements or horror trappings. I think the design of this particular predator, I like it. I think they overdid it a little bit with the redesign. Let me back up. With its mask on, which is a very different mask than we've usually seen the Predator wear, love it. Love the mask that they've got on this. They've sort of done some tweaking with the design when the mask is off, and I'm not as big a fan of that, but that's a moot point, like really. And it just builds this tension between Naru and this thing that she doesn't know what it is, but she knows it's hunting her. It's hunting the people around her, and that it is dangerous and it cannot be allowed to live. This is as far as it goes. She has to stop it. It's so good. It's a great, I'm going to call it, here's the thing. I said it's more action than horror, but it's also more horror than sci-fi. With Predator and these kinds of creatures, it can get kind of in the weeds, like, well, is it sci-fi, is it horror? And of course, you can have sci-fi, horror, Alien franchise, hello. But like the sci-fi elements in this are incidental. This could be an avenging spirit and very little would have to change about the story. For all intents and purposes, it is more horror than it is sci-fi, and it is more action than it is horror. But all that's in the mix, buoyed by really good performances, not just from the actor playing Naru, but everybody. Everybody in this is really good. And I like the small touch that, like, this isn't really a spoiler, but like there's a little bit of something that happens a little bit later in the movie. She encounters these French trappers, and they speak in French and they don't get subtitled. So if you don't speak or know French, you don't know what they're saying. I like that because that's a thing very commonly done to people like indigenous tribes, have them speak in another language to make them seem less relatable, to create that distance and detachment. So you see them a little bit less than human because you don't understand them. You don't see it done to white characters nearly as often. Or if they do, generally it's going to be like, okay, a couple of lines, but then they'll be like, oh, well, we'll talk in English now. Like, nope, they just don't. There's one guy who can speak Comanche and talk to Naru, and he ain't white. So it's just these white guys. And like, if you understand French, that that's fine. But it really does kind of read as the intended experience is that no, the ones we're gonna put distance between the audience and the characters. Yeah, the ones we're gonna do that with, it's the white Europeans. That's just fun as an inversion in and of itself. And that's just one of many small touches that are just well thought out, well integrated. This is tense and thrilling and gorgeously shot and well acted. This is really good. If I'd seen this before the end of last year, this probably would have made my top 10 of the year. I feel pretty confident about that. Prey. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables us to do this. Me. Enables me. Enables us collectively to do this as my living. No, that phrase doesn't work. Enables me to do this as my living. Other things help as well. Like, share, subscribe. There's links to other things I do down in the description, etc., etc., etc. Don't know why I'm doing this all of a sudden. I think maybe I need to go to bed. Thanks for tuning in. Don't worry too much about any of it. We clearly take a pretty relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break. Time to thank some Patreon backers, and in the spirit of October, I'd like to thank Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Goddess Alita, Turok, The Thing That Goes Doink in the Anime, Ruth, Oliver B., Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernobilax the Poodle, Robin Powell, Tracy Scrappett, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, and Rosalind Bennett. Thank you for your assistance. I don't know, I might try theming the shoutouts in the future. I don't know, we'll see. Thank you.